Basically, back in the 1950s, young Elise is living in the shadow of a local prison where the lights dim every time somebody is sent to the electric chair. She hears the voices of the prisoners. Her mother believes her, but her father doesn't believe her, or maybe he does, but he tries to beat the supernatural out of her. We then jump forward decades, although not far enough forward to be past the end of the story, with Elise now played by Lynn Shay. She's working with the Scooby-Doo ghost investigators, Tucker and Speck. She's investigating disturbances. She gets a call from somebody living in the house, which was the house in which she grew up.
Which house?
The house in which she grew up.
And where is that?
It's where she grew up.
That house?
It's by the prison where the thing went off, yes. And there are disturbances there. So she says, I can't go back, but she knows she has to go back because she has to go back to the source. So she goes back to her hometown where her path crosses with that of her estranged brother and his daughters. And they get involved in the standard ghost house fare with some sort of poltergeisty stuff, which takes some, many, all, or none of them to the other side. Here's a clip.
Here, careful with your head. She's on the other side.
Somebody has to go in and help her.
Yeah, who's gonna do that? I can't do that. Can you do that?
I didn't say.
I can do it. I can help her.
Close your eyes. Listen to the ticking. 3, 2, 1. When I say now, you will open your eyes and you will be on the other side.
So the thing with Insidious is this. I've never been a big fan of the series, although I was looking back at my review of Insidious 3, which I enjoyed more than a lot of people did, largely, I think, because I like Lynn Shay, and I like Lynn Shay in this too. I was also talking to a teenager who I know, who has, with his friends, very much...
You mean your son?
Yeah, very much enjoyed both one and two. We had a conversation. I said, what is it about... What's the thing? He said, look, all I can tell you is, you know, I watched 1 and 2 with my friends, and we were, you know, we found them creepy, and 3 not so much, although actually 3 was the one I liked. And so we had a discussion about, and they were working as sort of functional roller coaster horror films for them. Not for me, as it happens, although I did think sort of 3 had some interesting ideas. I did go into this... open-minded, you know, wanting to find the best in it. The opening sequence, which of course Lynn Shay's not in because of the time period, has a few creepy ideas and a few sort of, you know, moments that suggest that it's going to be more than you would expect. But then very, very quickly, it becomes completely mechanical. There is just endless amounts of wandering around dimly lit corridors, going down into cellars, quiet bang scares, darkness with flash faces appearing out of the gloom. There's a potentially interesting idea about the confusion between the living and the dead, but the plot plays out like the plot of some kind of spooky house board game with some Scooby-Doo stuff going. So the whole thing ends up being like walking around a not very well-constructed fairground haunted house ride with stops for exposition to explain completely irrelevant story of which there is too much. I think that the two guys get more sort of goofy comedy than perhaps they might have had, and that kind of works quite well. I mean, I do think Lee Winnelly's funny. And I know that the first 2 films did find their audience, and there is now a dedication to the series. And on the basis of the fact that I actually do find Lynn Shay very watchable, and I kind of feel a sort of affection towards her and her character as a result of that. But the film itself is terribly ropey. It's terribly mechanical. It's not terrible. It's just absolutely bog standard, quiet, bang, dark, bright, exposition, comedy bit, exposition, dark, bang.
Finish.
Yeah.
Roll the credits.